Maybe crooked, I don't know. But here we go. Haute or hot cycles. The sauce model. Following up on that, so we were talking a little bit about different gravel bikes and different models, and I had explained why I came to the decision that the steel bike was right for me. Not at the front end of the pointy end of races. I'm not in need of all the aerodynamic gains. Wanted something that is more sustainable, something that had a longer lifespan, something that all right, take two. All right, Haute Cycles, hot sauce model. Here we go. A little bit more in depth about what this bike is and why I went with something with this adaptability, this amount of semi-customization, this amount of flexibility. So, yeah. In looking at this, aerodynamic gains are lost over something like a Canyon Grail. Yeah, I get it. Few watts saved by deeper head tubes, all that kind of stuff. But if you're not at the pointy end of a one-day gravel race, do you really need those gains? Probably not. What I'm finding in the real world is that this bike is functioning just as well, if not better on some sorts of segments. I feel like it allows me a little bit more planted feeling. I do feel the comfort of steel. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to go back to steel. 2 hour fatigue, I can now go for 3 hours and feel the same amount of fatigue. Perceived, possibly. This bike does take a suspension fork. And if you think that the invert suspension fork or any of the suspension forks are just hype, or you might as well get a mountain bike, I would invite you to try one on up and downhill 2 to 3% grades or less. You definitely feel like you're carrying more speed. And that perception is backed up by your Strava files. If you go look at them, at the same effort, same conditions, you are actually probably traveling 5 to 10% faster because of the contact maintained with the ground patch staying there. That's the way I'm perceiving that right now. More to come, possibly. 45 millimeter tires on here have proven to be really, really good. I feel like I'm getting the same traction on the 45s, particularly on the front, as I got with a 2-inch gravel tire. So a little bit more about the gravel bike journey going on there. Yeah, done them all. Lauf Segla, tried one. Own Giant Revolt. Canyon Grail. Vast. A bunch of different gravel bikes that I demoed and tried in different configurations. And I'm having to say that this does it all for the kind of rider that I am. So had it built up in anticipation of possibly doing some bike packing races, that'll be put off until next year. But it's going to be an ideal rig for that. Enough attachment points to put a mica rack on there. Got the one thing that I definitely would recommend from Lauf, the smoothie bar. That bar does the job and does it well. It gives you a lot of good positions. It's wide enough for control. It's narrow enough to keep you out of the wind. It's configurable. It's round. It keeps the 31.8 long enough here so you can put attachments. I have like some goofy stuff on here now. I'll show you that in a minute. And yeah, so that's what I've got here. There's an Aero chainring. Not really much to do with Aero. Not really worried about the weight. But it went with the color theme and kind of went into the Momotaro effect. So the color of the bike is golden peach. And if you look up the Japanese folklore on that Momotaro, the Peach Boy, that's why I have the little fish there. It kind of matches up personally for me. Go read the story. It's very entertaining. The VCLS seat post definitely helps on a little bit of compliance in the rear. Nothing fancy, nothing overkill, but I think that this is kind of done just right for what I want to do. So the gravel here in North Carolina, you've got these undulating hills, and maybe undulating's too nice. Some of them are pretty abrupt in Uwharrie and the different forests around here. So you hit some pretty steep grades, but for short pitches. And you can be on anything from class 1 gravel, smooth road, to pure class 4 chunky gravel with ruts and grooves, and have to kind of pick your way through. So having the capabilities that this bike provides are absolutely, it's absolutely wonderful. I think that the choice that that Wilson and his crew up there, that they've made in the geometry, it actually makes this bike raceable, one-day raceable, if you're doing age group races, if you're not at the very, very front. There are things that you can do to this bike. I've changed my mind on it. This bike will handle just as well. As a matter of fact, if you go into the Bike Insights and you put this geometry, you pull up this bike and you pull up a Santa Cruz Stigmata and overlay them, you're gonna see that there's not a whole lot of difference. You can turn this into performance-oriented gravel bike if that's what you want to do for a day, and then just reverse it right back with all of your bag attachment points, all of your rack attachment points, this seat post, whatever you want to do, and you can change it right back into being a bike packing long distance rig. Does take the larger tires, like I said in the previous video. I don't know what Tom Ritchie's got going on with this saddle. I love the stream design. It's the perfect shape for me. However, after about 5 or 6 weeks of riding this one, it is starting to rattle. And that's the rails from the actual body of the saddle. So that's not a whole lot more than the seat post isn't doing that. It's done that with a rigid carbon post and also a rigid aluminum post. So that's not really it. Yeah, I really think Cane Creek got this right. That's the right amount of travel. Anything more would be overkill. I really feel that way. Anything less, you might as well just put a suspension stem on, or just go with the plushness of the 2-inch tire, like a mountain bike tire on that. That would do you just well. So I have this one set up with electronic, but it does have all the ports and access, so you can run it mechanical if you want. You do not have to do UDH. That is swappable. You can go with a standard rear derailleur if that's what your heart desires, and you can configure this bike just about any way that you want. So I would strongly recommend this company to anyone for a maybe 30% premium. You are paying for access to the designers, communication about what the design process is and what the build process is. You are paying for the build, custom color within a range. You get to pick your color. Call Canyon up and see if they'll let you pick your color. You are getting service that is, it's world-class service. You're getting everything that you're paying for, and all you big mouths out there, it's truly made in America. Not just designed in America, built overseas and brought back and sold at a premium price. This is designed and built in America. So if that's something that matters to you, then maybe it should matter a little bit more than lip service. And you can do that with a couple of American builders. Haute isn't the only one. You've got Fitz out on the West Coast. You've got Triple S down south. You've got a bunch of independent builders who are out there making great stuff, great bikes, and many of them at affordable prices when you look at the spectrum. So if you splurge and spend a little bit more on a semi-custom or a custom frame set and use some parts that you have left over from the parts bin, get it up and running, you can be out the door for less than somebody shipping a bike directly to your house. Look at the videos from bikepacking.com on the Made show. Look at what people have out there. and who's building something that you're interested in, call them up, hit them up with an email, start the process. I found it a great process to go through. I was a little apprehensive at first. I found it enjoyable. I found it absolutely wonderful. Yeah, and no, T47 bottom bracket, UDH, and progressive geometry. All three for the win. Like it. More to come. We'll talk about some tires that I've tried recently that really didn't work out and move on from there. Thank you, guys.